What is happening, everybody? It is Tuesday night. We have made it almost halfway through the week. So tomorrow's hump day. So we're almost going to make it through the week this week. I'm excited about that. We got some cool shows coming up this weekend. But let's talk about tonight. We got a special guest on here uh, that has some art from Mr. Rodney Fike. And hello there, Andre. I love the joke. Let's get nerdy until we're blue in the face. Hey, Trish. Thanks for joining tonight. So, everyone, without further ado, I would like to bring out Mr. John Wilson with his Project Blue.
Hello, everyone. And Andre, I'll be doing the comedy here tonight. Cut that out.
And we got Mike in the house. Hello, everyone. Kind of torn watching this, and Cthulhu Invades Oz. Hey, Wendy. Thanks for joining. So I'm super excited, guys. I got on today and checked it out, and John is only $47 from goal. So hopefully we can make that happen on tonight's show. I'm really excited. I love the project. I've been checking it out, and I was reading about it. I seen it on Rodney's page. He was talking about Blue and it being a children's book. And I have a 4 and a 5-year-old, and I really love the concept of the book. But we can talk more about that later. So how are you doing tonight, John?
Not too bad. How are you? Do you know that your opening has an impending sense of dread to it? I don't know if anyone's ever told you this, but as a guest coming on your show, you have that very slow countdown, and then you come up with this slow burning light and then an explosion. Kind of makes the guest not good for their heart, you know? I'm an old man here.
Hey, Tina. Hey, Rodney. Thanks for joining tonight, guys. And Andre says,
"Oh, kick those two out. We don't need hooligans like that in here." Tina and Rodney, no, kick them out. Make them go away. They'll be no good for this podcast.
Yeah, we got to watch it. Rodney,
I know. You can't just let anybody in here.
Let's see, what Kickstarter are we talking about? We are always late to the Kickstarter parties, but we eventually get there. LOL. So, Trish, we are talking about Blue. It's a children's story. Why don't you tell them a little bit about it, John?
Well, Blue is a kid's book. It's about the character Blue. He decides that he doesn't want to be blue anymore. So he goes and looks at the other colors. He decides that there's nothing good about being blue anymore. So he decides to go and look at the other colors, and because he has always revered these other colors much more than himself. So he goes and he sees how red is such a passionate color, and how green is so rich, and how purple is so regal, and all these other colors are so grand and everything. And blue, there's nothing good about being blue, until he is put on the right path by the old color gray. And gray shows him that these other colors do have these negative connotations as well, and that he himself has a lot of positive things going for him. So eventually Blue decides that being blue isn't so bad. But by the end of the book, he decides that maybe tomorrow he'll be vermilion.
And you know what? It's got some really cool art in it. So I really love the art that Rodney Fike.
It really does. Rodney Fike, the hoodlum I told you to kick out. Rodney Fike did the incredible art for this. He is the shining star of this book. I just did some silly rhymes, but he is really the shining star of this book. He did some incredible artwork throughout this book. Did the covers that are amazing. We've been running them on the Facebook and Twitter posts throughout the entire campaign. And I mean, I just can't say enough. All his artwork that he's done throughout all his books is fantastic, and he does such a range of incredible art. I mean, the stuff for Blue is very soft, interesting, and kid friendly, and then you have the stuff he does for other books. It's that very kind of, tight comic book, style that a lot of people, I myself, really love. I mean, I come from comic books, so it's not only is he a great friend to have, he's great to have as someone who are an artistic kind of colleague, I guess would be the best way to put it, our artistic contemporary, because he can do such a wide range of styles.
Yeah, and so Rodney has some of his own children's books that he's done, so it's
He
really
does.
cool to see him work on another project. But he does have a wide range. From the horror book Roadkill Rampage, and then you've got Pitter Patter and Peanut Pudding and Jelly.
Right.
I always
I
almost
always
mess
want to
that
say
one
peanut
up.
butter and jelly myself.
I always try to say it too.
Peanut pudding and jelly. Don't forget.
Don't forget. So yeah, so it's really cool to see how Rodney has a broad range of
Right.
artistic qualities to him, but also you brought on you have some prints too in there as well, like Sean Forney's Blue. I absolutely love it. That's one of my favorite pieces is Blue sledding down the hill. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, incredible. This is one of the great things about being in the comics community is that you have such great friends. Sean, one of the most eclectic artists that you'll see in indie comics today. I mean, he can draw pretty much anything you could think of. He's done a print for us. Comfort Love and Adam Withers, married couple who are doing the books, The Uniques and Rainbow in the Dark. They did a print for me of Blue in front of a field of colors. And they're also giving me the original artboard as it's our highest tier thing, that it's the one of a kind artboard from which they made their print. So it's a one of a kind piece that there's only one of, that only one person will ever be able to get, ever. So it's awesome. A really cool piece. In addition to that, the God Machine's Kendra Free, she's made a print for us as well. And she's worked for, named the indie publisher, and she's probably worked for them over the years. In addition to that, Jeremy, quote unquote, Scarecrow Orion, has made 4 pieces for me. I've got one regular piece that he's made for us, which if you scroll down, you'll come up on. And then got 2 pieces that we haven't revealed yet, and a 3rd piece that's a Pac-Man inspired piece. And so Blue saying he's not a ghost as Pac-Man is about to chew him up. Yeah, that's Sean's piece there.
I love that. I absolutely love the smile on his face.
Yeah, that's a great piece.
It's just so much fun.
Right. And I mean, look at how he did just look at the quality of the snow and everything, how well he detailed and colored, how, the 3-dimensional quality to that piece. I mean, that's a really impressive piece of art.
Yep, they sure did. And now let's see, what are we at now? Yeah, we're at $723. So we're $27.
$723. So we're inching towards the finish line there. And then just below that, I think, was Comfort and Adam's piece. Yeah, that's Comfort and Adam's piece there, of Blue in front of a field of color.
And that piece is gone.
Oh, and then that's Rodney's. That's a one of a kind piece. That's already gone. Somebody has already gotten that. Sorry, folks.
This one's still available, though. The TARDIS.
Actually, that one's still available. Blue is inside that, everyone. You don't see him, but he's inside. Take my word for it.
He's inside there.
So he's inside. So that's the chart. That's Rodney's Charters piece. That's Chandra Free's piece. Sorry. I keep wanting to leave out the R in her name, but that's her blue piece, where he kind of is looking inside the mirror and kind of the mirror universe one. That's Scarecrow's piece.
That piece is really cool too. I like that.
Yeah, that's Scarecrow's piece. That's Jeremy Orion's piece.
Oh,
And
there's Iron Blue.
Iron Blue's gone. He just went yesterday. That was also a one-of-a-kind piece of Rodney's.
Yeah, I love that.
And I think those are the only ones that are up now. But then there are 3 other Jeremy Orion pieces that aren't on there. There are 2 that haven't been revealed to anyone yet. I'm going to spring those out next week.
Cool.
Because we still have 2 weeks to go on the Kickstarter. I mean, funded or not, we still have 2 weeks to go on the Kickstarter. We can do what are called stretch goals.
Yeah, and guys, you can get a digital copy of the book. It's only $5, and then for $15, you get a copy of Blue signed by the author and a bookmark. So the book is super, super affordable, and it definitely looks awesome. I love the artwork in it. I love that too, Rodney. How you posted that the other day? How Blue takes a test and mark, and what was it, the Mark 83 or whatever you put on there?
Yeah.
So, John, what inspired you to do this book?
I think with Blue, I was just writing a poem one day that I was thinking about how people are especially children. My wife teaches in middle school now, and how kids. I was reading an article about how kids are not happy with themselves. They're not happy. Kids are wanting plastic surgery now at a very young age, or you have kids that are not happy with who they are and or what they are at a very young age. And I even was hearing a little bit of it from my wife. Was some of her fellow teachers were talking about it. So I was thinking, even kids that young are having this problem. And, I know people, my age and stuff have that problem who are just not happy with who and what they are or the way their life is going and stuff. So, but kids that young, it just seemed disheartening to me that they were feeling this way. So I started writing, and for some reason it started coming out in rhyme. Not most of my stuff doesn't. Like I said, I'm primarily a comic book writer. I'm primarily a comic book guy. So it's a rare thing when I start writing poetry. But this started coming out as a rhyme. And it started coming out in, 4-line couplets for some reason. And it just fell out. And for some reason, actually, I know the reason. That song, and I don't remember the name of the band, but I'm Blue, Abu Di Abu Da, that song had been an earworm in my head for a while. From a couple of years ago, that had gotten stuck in my head. So the idea of blue, the color blue, was in my brain. So blue became a thing. Blue became a part of the poem, and I tied that in with the idea of people not being happy with who they are, and it became Blue not being happy with who he was. So because I'm Blue, Blue became my main character. And it just fell out. And the poem kind of had several iterations because it was a much rougher poem. It wasn't a kid's storybook to begin with. It was a much more quote unquote adult poem, you know. And it took
Just getting your frustrations out on paper.
Yeah, just getting my frustrations out on paper, you know. And it took several iterations, and then I even had my wife start reading it during class, and I heard her have to edit some things, and I'm like, "Oops, okay, I need to go back and edit this much," because I thought I had edited it down enough to make it okay for children. But when I heard her have to edit a couple of more things, I decided I needed to edit it even more to make it for children. And then after that, the process came of handing it over to other people to edit. And I handed it over to a long trusted friend of mine to edit. And I also handed it over to Rodney and Tina to edit as well. And that we slowly began to craft that into the book that we have now.
So is that kind of the gateway when Rodney and Tina went over it, where Rodney was like, "Hey, I really want to do color for that," or did you originally intend on using him as the artist?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, I mean, I approached Rodney with the idea of it a long time ago. You know, it's like I have this thing. Here it is in the rawest form. You know, and he started doing pictures for it like several years ago, I think. And then it kind of laid around for a while. We didn't really do much with it. And then we got back together again kind of at the beginning of 2020. And we were both like, hey, let's do something with this thing. And we, crafted it, and it became Blue.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. We're in a crucial time where kids, back then people didn't care what other people thought. It was like, you know what, I am who I am. It doesn't matter. And now in this time, I see it in my kids. They want to be like other people. And it's like I always tell them, even my niece and nephew, my nephew turned 16. And it's like, since we had them all the time as they grew up, since they were babies, I would always hear them talking about, oh, this kid said this about me at school, or I really wish I had this. And I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter what they have. You need to be thankful for the things that you have. And I love the idea of this book because, for getting it for kids, my kids' age, 4 and 5, they can read it and they can grow up knowing that, hey, I can't be jealous of what other people have because I have things myself. And it really hits home with me. My son Roderick has had open heart surgery at a week old. Right. He had open heart surgery at 2.5. He's going to continue to have open heart surgeries. There's a lot of stuff that Roderick can't do. We can't go to Six Flags, which is, right up to, 30 minutes from our house and ride the roller coasters because of his heart condition. There's a lot of stuff that Roderick can't do. And, my daughter's like, well, but I can go. And I'm like, no, you're not going to go because we're not going to do stuff that we can't do as a family. We're going to find stuff that we can do.
That's unfair to him. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, I always tell him, he when he was going to preschool, he'd talk about what the other kids were doing. I'm like, Roderick, I understand. I mean, he's only 5, so he doesn't really quite get it, but I want to try to teach him that, hey, the things that these other kids do is cool to them, but we have stuff that's really cool to us that we do. We go off-roading at St. Joe. We do things that you do and that you love. We play video games. Yeah, it's like there's a lot of things that you get to do that some other kids don't get to do. I'm like, you got to learn to be happy with the things that you have because sometimes that's better than nothing. But I really like the idea of the book, and I think it's a good thing to put out there and for kids to read. I mean, I totally get everything that you said about, we're growing up in a time where kids are totally unhappy with the way they look, and they see somebody on TV and they're like, I want to look like that. They starve themselves. Like you said, there's 7, 8, 9-year-old kids getting plastic surgery. Now, granted, there are times that kids
Well, it's needed
have
sometimes,
injuries and
but yeah.
stuff. Yeah, well, I mean, sometimes they have injuries and stuff that they have to have plastic surgery for, which is
Right.
totally different. But these kids are having elective, plastic surgery and
Right.
going to their parents to say, "Hey, I'm not happy with the way that I look." And it's like us as a society really need to take a step back and go, what are we doing wrong that, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old kids are wanting to change the way they look because they feel so bad about themselves.
Right. And well, you've got way too many kids now, especially have. I'm going to sound like an old fogey here because I am, but way too many kids now have too much access to YouTube and like specific YouTube people that
Influencers.
influencers, and yeah, the worst word in the English language,
Yeah.
that are influencing them, that they have to look, feel, think, and act a certain way. And it took me years because I grew up dirt poor. Not the, as I used to have to tell my students, not the kind of poor where you had to buy last year's Jordans instead of this year's Jordans, but the kind of poor where you weren't quite sure where your next meal was coming from poor. But it took me a long time to realize that I wasn't in competition against anybody but myself. And a lot of kids today don't realize that, and they let these YouTube people, or they let their friends, or they let other influences push them down a path they don't need to go down.
Yep.
So if Blue can, if my little kids book can steer anybody the other direction, then I've done my job.
Well, it's all about building self-esteem and building
Yeah.
that image. People, as you grow up, you build an image about yourself, and if you
Right.
don't start out happy with who you are and how you look and whatnot, then as you grow older, it's like they say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. It's hard
Right.
to set aside something that you've done or known your whole life. It's hard to change your ways once you're already set in them.
Right.
That's I guess what I'm looking for. And so this is a great opportunity to get kids to help build their self-esteem and see, hey, I may be red and I may want to be purple tomorrow, but purple doesn't have some of the things that I have as being red. And
Right.
Steph Wilson is a bad influence.
Yes, Steph Wilson's best, probably. Yeah.
How are you doing tonight, Marseille? And hey, Heather, thanks for joining in. Hey, Lewis. And
Yeah,
I think I missed somebody else in here. No, I didn't.
if you're following anybody that bounces a basketball for a living, you're following the wrong person. I'm sorry. There's a lot of good things about a lot of people who bounce basketballs for a living, but there's also a lot of bad things.
So, John, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know one of the things that you do on the side is you've done some writing for comic books. Would you mind,
Yeah.
talking a little bit about that?
Well, there's not really that much to tell. I was rocketed as a baby from the doomed planet Krypton, and no, I'm kidding. Yeah, yeah, I do write for comics. I've written 2 comics for the comic book company Last Ember Press. One is called Pneumatic Cases. It's a steampunk book about a very bohemian married couple who are detectives in Victorian times. And the other is I wrote three of the four stories in an anthology tale called Fireside Tales. They were Charmageddon, about a little girl with superpowers. It was Eek Little Monsters, about preteen and baby versions of the kind of the classic Universal monsters. And the last one was Tin Town, which I kind of collaborated with the publisher of the comics, Brant Fowler, who, it's a town of robots, and they discover a human baby on their doorstep. And hilarity ensues. So I did those. Actually, Pneumatic Cases, the first two issues are out. The third issue is in production now. Knock on wood. Knock on wood. After many years sitting undone. The other book was just kind of a one-off. I've also been a comics journalist for about a decade until very recently. For well over 10 years, I was one of three owners of a website called Comic Related, which we did comics news and reviews and interviews. We went to conventions. We did con reporting, whether we were there or not. In fact, most of the time we did our we're not there reporting of conventions.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of times we couldn't go. We weren't there. But we still did, all the news reporting of conventions. We did that until the website closed about 5 years ago. After that, I wrote for a website called Complete Set, which was about toys for about a year. And then I wrote for CBR for about a year until right before 2020 started. And then I took a break to kind of work on my own comic stuff and, begin to start my own company and everything. So, and, for medical reasons. So,
Yeah, and you
other than that,
used to
that's
be
about
a
it.
teacher.
I was an art teacher for 11 years. I did. I was an art teacher for 11 years until I had to quit for medical reasons. And then, I taught art in high school, and actually one of the roughest high schools in town. So that was fun. But yeah, no, it was actually a lot of fun. Because, I got everyone. I got every kid, from the best kids to the worst kids. I saw everybody.
Now, what grade levels
So it
did
was an
you
interesting
teach?
experience. Oh, high school. So it was 10 to 12.
10 through 12.
So
So you
yeah,
had the rambunctious bunch.
it was all the big kids. And, there were several times that I was wrestling kids bigger than I was to the ground,
Oh, man.
which is why my back is screwed up.
So you mentioned medical
One of the
reasons. I
reasons,
mean,
anyway.
so you mentioned medical reasons is it something that you want to talk about, or,
Oh
you
yeah, I
know,
don't care. I'll tell the world about everything that's wrong with me. I have degenerative disc disease in my back, which means all those squishy parts in your spine. Mine are they're supposed to
gone?
be like this. Mine are like this and blown up. In part because I was wrestling kids bigger than I was to the ground, and in part because it's just a natural, medical thing that sometimes happens to people. I also have osteoarthritis in both of my legs, from my knees all the way down, and both of my knees are bone on bone. So Walking
So
is a
now it's kind of
joy.
like, yeah. So now kind of writing and doing stuff like this book and starting this comics company is kind of your new line of work,
Yeah, it's kind of
basically.
my outlet. It's kind of my outlet when the pain doesn't sort of shut my brain off, or when the pain medication doesn't sort of shut my brain off. It's kind of my outlet, uh, and stuff. And so yeah, it kind of allows me to have that. Kind of lets me do the creative stuff, uh, pursue that creative side of my life that I can't do when I can't do the physical stuff, like you were saying with your son, where you can't do the certain things because of his heart condition. I was feeling empathy because I can't do a great number of things because of my physical condition.
No,
So,
I totally understand, man. Last year, last January, this was how my book came to be. Was that I got diagnosed with the possibility of having cancer. So I didn't find out until September,
yeah.
finally, from January, that I didn't have cancer. And then they ended up, when they sent me to the neurologist, they went ahead and did another set of imaging and found out that they missed on the prior imaging back in March,
Oh,
when I got
no.
hit on my way home, that I have 11 bulging discs and 2 blown discs in my back.
My
And
goodness.
so I totally understand where you're coming from. I have
Yeah.
mild degenerative disc disease in my lumbar, moderate in my thoracic, and severe in my cervical. I have my C6 and C7 is blown to the left, so this whole right nerve in my right arm and stuff, I have issues with it on off and on. So I totally understand, being down and out and not being able to do some
Yeah.
of the things you used to do. And it really gets the creativity flowing, because when you're sitting there and you want to do something but you don't feel like getting up to do it, your brain
Yeah.
starts rolling and it's like, what can I do? What can I write down? What can I come up with?
Oh, yeah. Thankfully, or sometimes,
Too bad.
unfortunately, the brain never stops. I mean, the
No,
brain
it
is
never does.
constantly going, constantly making up new stories, constantly telling me, stuff I should be doing or stuff it wants me to do. And,
And you're like,
it's like,
no, I'm not.
I
I'm not up
can't,
for that.
I can't today.
Well,
Body's not working. I'd
well,
love to, but I can't.
instead, we're gonna write this story today. We're gonna talk
Yeah.
about blue. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. It's like, well, not even that. It's like, there are some times when I even physically can't write, when I just can't, I can't sit and type for that long, or I can't, even write in a pad,
So, what
which
is the
I
name
know
of the
the
company?
kids don't know what writing is anymore, but yeah.
Yeah, typing. So, what is the name of the company that you're going to be publishing under?
Um, my own company is called The Monkey Works. Actually, Blue is going to be the first thing under the Monkey Works Publishing Company. The comic books will be the Monkey Works Comics Company. And then they're all going to be part of the Dragon Works, which is it's it's the word and then WERX. It's the thing my wife and I came up with a while ago that we got hooked on for some reason. So I suppose it would be Monkey Works and Dragon Works if you want to be technical about it. The Germanic. I can't roll the word like you're supposed to, but that we got off on a while ago. But yeah, um, the Dragonworks thing is kind of my graphic design, because that's what my degree is in. My art degree is technically, I'm a graphic designer. In addition to all my teaching stuff, and then I created myself a toy company, although we're nowhere near the point of making toys yet. But that's called Clockwork Monkey Toy Company. So just plans for the future.
Yeah, no, it doesn't hurt to plan for the future. It definitely is an
No,
expensive business to get into too. I mean, I looked
yeah.
at getting action figures made and trying to get something made up for
Oh yes,
Xeno
not
Nanite
cheap.
Titan, and I was like, oh my,
Ooh, no,
yeah,
not cheap.
no, it's not at all.
It's a good, I would love Jonathan Matthews, who's one of the premier model makers, one of the premier sculptors of action figures and stuff, lives in my town. I could never afford to hire him to make anything for me because it's just incredible how much that stuff costs.
Oh, it is. It's definitely insane, but it's definitely a fun thing to get into and try to create. Just
Oh
with
yeah,
having your own, company.
yeah.
I'll get out of here. I've never done that, Lewis. Lewis says, "Oh boy, here we go. Now the
It's all
crazies
too
are gonna
small on
ensue."
my screen, so I can't read it because I'm having to use my phone. But
Oh, you're fine. Um, but
so
yeah,
if
I mean, it's
anybody's
definitely.
saying anything cute or funny, I can't tell.
Yeah. Steph Wilson said Lewis has a toy company on Pornhub, and then Lewis said the only thing that I'm good at writing is a bad check, which I've never done. I can be proud to say that I've never done that. And Steph said Russell can't write, but that's a different issue. And Steph also said pronounce the W as a V, so Dragonverks.
Bricks, thank you, Bricks.
Dragonverks.
Bricks.
Yeah. So it's definitely cool. So, I mean, do you have some books lined up already for the Monkey Works comics? Do you have like ideas that are kind of rolling, or do you have
Oh
anything
yeah,
that's
I have a ton of stuff, and if I, that old song, if I had $1,000,000, it would it would go to hire pencilers because I have about 10 comic book stories all ready to go that are just in need of pencilers right now to start penciling the books. Yeah, I've got plenty of stuff ready to go. I've already, tapped one of my old friends to be the editor for the company. So I just, need to start hiring art staff if and when I suddenly get rich.
No, I totally understand. I mean, it's expensive. It's expensive
Yeah,
to.
or
I mean, you got to
I
have a
can.
penciler, and you got to have a letterer, and you got to have somebody to do the
Yeah,
flatting and the
I mean, I can
colors.
I can draw myself, but I'm very slow,
Yeah.
and
Well,
I
that's the
can
thing.
also
You can't do
flat.
it all. You can't draw. You
Yeah,
can't
I can't
write.
do
You can't.
everything, or I could do everything, but each book would take a year.
And Andre said, real quick, John, it was nice, very nice to meet you. Meet you. Best of luck with the Kickstarter. And looks like you're almost there. Catch you all later. Have a great night, Andre. Thanks for
Excellent. Thank
joining.
you, Andre.
And thanks for backing and putting us one step closer to goal.
Oh
I
yeah, thank you. And
appreciate that.
yeah, whoever was putting me aside to not watch something else, go watch that. Watch this later.
Nonsense.
Nonsense. Are you crazy? Watch this all the time.
Nonsense,
Always watch
yon poopy
Russell.
pants.
Always watch Russell first.
That's right. So I got to ask. So this is one of the
Yes.
biggest questions that I always like to ask. So what were your favorite characters growing up in the comic books? You can choose
Oh
Marvel,
God.
DC, or one from each, or what it doesn't matter where.
Yeah. No.
What was your favorite characters?
Yeah. No. I was always a DC person.
Always
I mean, I
DC.
liked Marvel because I'm probably older than most of the people you get on here. Because I'll be 53 on January 4th. So but I was always a DC head from way, way back. And there were a few Marvel things that I got into, but it was really always about DC for me, especially the kind of weirder parts of DC, especially back in the day. Like the stuff like Ragman, or the stuff like the House of Mystery, House of Secrets, the really old Swamp Thing, or like the really old Shade the Changing Man with the really. I mean, I like the new Shade the Changing Man with the really psychedelic art, but the really old Shade the Changing Man with the blocky kind of Kirby-esque art. That is the stuff I really kind of dug. And then I was really heavy into of course, Batman. I was really heavy into the Justice League. I mean, I've always been heavy into Justice League. Every iteration of Justice League I was there for. You know, I'm one of the few people that absolutely loved Identity Crisis. Brad Meltzer's Identity Crisis. Not only because I really like Brad, and I mean, we're friends in the Facebook sense. But I can look at Identity Crisis and I can see the connectors back to those old Silver Age comics. And I can go, oh, he took that from here. He took that from this Justice League story. And he took that from this this Secret Society of Supervillains story. And, you know,
Have a good
he
night,
took that from
Rodney.
here. Rodney, no, you can't go to sleep. Stay back here. But yeah, no, he, you know, I can see where he connected all these things together. And, you know, that's what made the story really interesting for me. I mean, I know people do have problems with it, and it is a little dicey in areas. But I really loved it for all the connections back to Silver Age it had. So, and even today, I'm with all, the only time I've ever abandoned DC was the New 52.
Yeah, I think
couldn't-
everybody abandoned DC.
Yeah, I think everybody jumped ship on New 52 and came back for Rebirth. But yeah, I've always really been that. Now, you know, of course, I love the X-Men. Who didn't love the X-Men? As far
Who's
as
your
that,
favorite X-Man?
Nightcrawler. It's always been
Nightcrawler?
Nightcrawler, Kitty Pryde. Actually, even more so now that she's become all tough and captain-like and stuff. But it's always been Nightcrawler, Kitty Pryde, and then probably, weirdly, it's probably a toss-up between Storm and Wolverine. Because they're both very, extremely, you know, tough characters. And if you peel them apart, they're kind of the same character. Because they're both noble characters, but they're also extremely deadly characters if you back them into a corner. So
Steph said Storm wins if in skimpy outfits.
Well, yeah, nobody wants to see Wolverine's hairy butt in a skimpy outfit.
Or Steph also mentioned Savage Land Rogue, which Savage Land Rogue.
Oh, Savage Land Rogue, yeah. I've always liked Rogue, but, you know, the thing with Rogue is, especially the way that they ended up, like the way they resolved her power recently, that it's always just been because she didn't want to, or how they put it, it was a mental block. She could have always controlled her power, but she didn't feel worthy enough to control her power, or I don't remember exactly how they put it, but it was kind of this mental block. It's like, well, that was kind of anticlimactic of 30 years of, you know, not being able to control a power.
Yeah.
It's like, it would have been better if it had been like, you know, a tumor or something that someone had to cut out. But yeah, other than that, yeah, actually the really weird parts of Marvel were kind of my thing too. I've always been more into the really weird stuff than, you know, kind of the mainstream stuff, especially at Marvel. Like, I would much rather read a Doctor Strange book, any Doctor Strange book, over reading Spider-Man any day. I'm really into Strange Academy right now.
Yeah, Strange Academy's had a pretty good run going on.
Yeah, the book, Scotty Young's book, that's essentially, you know, the X-Men, but with magical kids. Like, I'm really into that right now, especially because they had those goofy recipes in the back. I really like that. But other than that, yeah, that's always been my thing. And I've always really loved like the art for, especially with the DC books, because you always had those really, really good artists at DC, like Neil Adams, and you had Kirby for a time, during the First World stuff, and that kind of strange little intersection he did.
I'll tell you what, man, Neil Adams, man, that strikes a chord with me because Neil Adams has always done phenomenal art for Vampirella. I mean, just seeing some of his originals for Vampirella and then seeing the price
Oh
tags is
yeah,
like,
God yeah.
oh, I wish I could own that. He also did a
Oh
lot
yeah.
of good art for
Good to
Tomb of
look at,
Dracula.
could never afford.
Yep, it's
Yeah,
great
I
to look
love
at, but can
Neil
never afford.
Adams. Yeah, unfortunately, he's kind of an ass. I mean, I've met him at some cons, and I've been to enough cons that were kind of friendly because we always see each other.
Yeah,
But he's kind of an ass to like the servant people, because he kind of pulls this "do you know who I am" stuff a lot. And
well,
I just hate to see that.
well, I mean, the one thing about Neil Adams is he's really straightforward. It's his
Yeah,
way, and
yeah, I
he's set in
guess
his ways, and he's going to tell you
he
that this
is.
is
I
how it
mean,
gets done.
he's even more of an old curmudgeon than I am.
Yeah, and no, I mean, I
Yeah,
respect the man for that because he
but
doesn't
no, I
take
mean,
shit
I
from
respect the
anybody.
hell out of him.
Oh, I
I
do too.
respect the hell out of him. It's just a shame that he's
Yeah. Well,
that
I
he's
mean,
a
we
little
all
bit of
have
an
our
ass
bad
to
days.
service people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I mean, he's always like at every
Oh, is
con
he?
I've seen him do this. At every con I've seen him do this. He's kind of an ass to like the con kids. He's
Yeah.
very dismissive. But no, I mean, I respect him and I respect the hell out of his work. I have to.
Stuff. I don't even know who I am half the time. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's like that never works with me because no one knows who I am.
Yep, I hear you. So it's really cool, though, man. What? Oh, sorry, I missed the comment here. StreamYard just did a dump on me again, so I missed this one. I think. Oh yeah, Lewis, get out of here with that. They're being
All these
crazy
in jokes,
kids.
I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch just for the in jokes.
Yeah, Lewis said, I hear the entire city of Cape Cod is going to turn into one big nudist community. So, if you don't know who Steph Wilson is, Steph Wilson's our friendly neighborhood, curvy, what do you call it, Steph? What is the word I'm looking for? Sheer is the new black artist. So,
Oh.
yeah, he's known for the bigger is better. And so he's moving to Cape Cod here pretty soon. And so Lewis is cracking on him. He said, I hear the entire city of Cape Cod is going to turn into one big nudist community. Yeah, we had some pretty. So Steph Wilson
Okay.
does the Thursday night You Can Draw segment. He gets on
Right.
and he'll do some covers. And then he does the You Can Draw. He brings the kids on and stuff. But yeah, we got pretty out of hand last week. We were talking about sending them all kinds of gag gifts, for lawn ornaments and stuff like that. So we had a good time with that.
Well, if he's an artist, he'll never leave his house. So, Cape Cod can be as nude as it wants. He'll never go outside.
That's right. Although Steph does have to leave to go to his occasional 7-Eleven run and get his cup.
Oh, there you go.
Off. So.
Hey, man, Grubhub.
That's right, Grubhub. So do you have any plans on launching any more Kickstarters after Blue, or are you going to work on getting that one situated for a while before you launch another project?
To be honest with you, I don't know. I mean, I want to get Blue situated. I want to get everything in the hands of everybody that we promised.
No,
I want, it's very important to me that that everyone gets what they backed for, because this is my first Kickstarter.
No.
And I will admit it's been a little rough on me, because it's my first. But okay, I'll just say it. Like I said, I grew up poor. I grew up very poor. But one of the things that I took pride in is we never took assistance from anyone. We just worked our asses off. I'm sorry if I'm cursing too much.
Oh, you're fine, man. That was good. There's no censorship here.
Okay. We just worked. All right, cool. I will curse a lot more than we worked our asses off, and we got out of it. I mean, we managed to get ourselves out of it. And
it's hard to put up a Kickstarter and ask people to
I'm
back
in a lot better
project.
place. It feels like begging to me.
Yeah, it does. I get it. I totally get it.
I know it's not.
Well, you got this
I know
project.
It's not, but it does awesome. Feel that way. Yeah.
Yeah, you got this project and it's awesome, and you want to go out there and you want to pay for the permit, and you want to sell it, and you want to be like, guys, check out this project. But it's so much money to come up with, and then you're sitting on inventory.
Yeah, it is. And I could have asked for a lot more. I should have probably asked for a lot more, but I didn't. I asked for the bare minimum I need to pay for the book to get it published. Just because of the fact that I don't want to, I don't want anyone to think that they're funding my existence here.
Yeah.
Especially with being disabled now. And all the trouble that I had to go through to get what I was supposed to get with that. Because you
got to jump through hoops. Oh, yeah.
There were so many hoops that a crippled person should not be jumping through to get what I was supposed to get just for that, just to live. It doesn't feel right to me. I don't want anyone to think that I'm trying to get more money than I should just for this. I don't want anyone to ever feel like I'm trying to make money off of them. I have no problem selling my books, selling books that I've created, selling artwork I've created. I have no problems asking for a fair amount for the, amount for art. I have no problems making a painting and saying it's worth, $200 because I put $200 worth of work into it. And I will gladly explain to them why it's worth $200. But I will not, tape a banana to a wall and say it's worth $5 million. Just because there's a thing,
Well, here's the thing, man. Try not to think about it like that. Try to think about it like this.
I try not to, and I know if Tina's on here, I'm going to get an earful later. But
well, here's the thing, man.
It just doesn't feel right.
You got multi-million-dollar companies out there that make games. They put out pre-orders for these games a year and a half, 2 years before these games come out, and people go and they buy those pre-orders and they get amped up about the games, and then the games come out 2 years later and they're super excited about it. That's kind of like what Kickstarter and Indiegogo is. You got a project, you want to get it out there, and you need help getting it funded. It's just like these video game creators do. They put these pre-orders out there to try to get money to make the game better before they release it. It's kind of the same way with books and comic books and stuff like that. You put a project on Kickstarter, you're taking pre-orders. People pre-order movies, they pre-order music, they pre-order video games. Why not books? So Kickstarter helps the indie creators. It's not begging for money, I don't see, in my opinion. It's helping get people to say, hey, I want this book when it comes out. I'm going to pledge for it now, and I'm going to help this creator fund a full print run for the book.
Right.
And that's what it's all about, man. It's not asking for money, and you should never feel like you're asking for a handout. You should be proud of what you got. You should put it out there and brand it and say, hey, this book's going to be awesome. Help me fund the initial print run on this, and let's get this bad boy out in people's hands.
I think with my thing also, because I did 20 years and I did my time in retail. I did my time in the trenches. I did 20 years in retail. So
Yeah.
I'm used to having the physical product in my hand and product for money. So I think the idea of not having a product and getting money for it, but having the concept of a product and getting money for that is the hurdle that I'm still personally having trouble getting over. So I may do another Kickstarter again. Someone else may have to be in charge of it, because I don't know if I'm wired the right way to just be in charge. I have no problem maybe being part of the team.
Yeah.
Being in charge of it may not be my bag,
Well, and the thing is, John, it's like I told you before, if you ever need help with it, I don't have no problem
Yeah.
helping you with the Kickstarter. It's about the circle we run.
Yeah.
I'm sure Rodney and Tina and I and several of the people out there, if you
No,
ask them anything that you need to know.
Tina's been immeasurable help. I couldn't have done this without Tina, honestly.
Yeah,
I
Kickstarter
wouldn't
is
have done it
overwhelming
without Tina.
at first. You get on there and you're
Yeah.
like, okay, what do I do?
Yeah, no, I honestly couldn't have done this without Tina. Tina deserves all the credit for putting the book together, for getting us a designer. I mean, Tina is the unsung hero who wouldn't even let me put her name in the book, but I'm putting her name out here now. She deserves all the credit for Blue, except for the art and the words and the graphic design. But she really did everything else. There would not be a book if not for Tina. There definitely wouldn't be a Kickstarter if not for Tina, because I wouldn't have known how to log on to the page if not for Tina, let alone how to fill in all the blanks. Because she walked me, I was like a Barbie doll in front of a math problem. Looking at Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And Tina really had to hold my hand throughout the entire thing. And I couldn't have done it without her. And there were times that I'm sure I drove her crazy. I'm sure I still am driving her crazy.
Yeah, apparently you're going to get in trouble with her. She's going to go back and hear you.
She's going to yell at me, I'm sure, for saying half the things I said tonight. But it's probably yelling I need. But yeah, I couldn't have done it without her. And and if I ever do it again, she probably won't want to ever do one with me again because I've been such a pain. but yeah, she deserves a lion's share of the credit, and probably any extra money we get from it should go into her pocket. No, honestly, any extra money we get will go to increasing the print run, because the print run is only 100 books. So it's a very small print run. It's really only enough to fulfill the people who backed us, and a few books for Rodney and myself to have to sell at cons whenever we get back to cons again, if we ever do. But other than that, it's a very small print run. So if we manage to make our print thing, which we're still, as of a few minutes ago, $27 shy, in the next 2 weeks. And if we manage to hit, I think 1,000, we'll break even, because of, you know, the money I've had to personally put in to pay artists and print costs. And if we hit 1,500, we'll be able to do another print run, which will be another 100. So, yeah. So there we are.
Yeah, and then you have on here if you.
And yeah, I've got stretch goals for each of more
Yeah, so if you
things that
stretch goal at
we'll give out.
$1,000, you get a print by artist and designer Jeremy Scarecrow Orion, and then the goal
Yep.
2 at $1,500. Everyone who pledged the $15 level or higher will receive a print by the God Machine creator and artist Chandra Free.
Yeah, and you saw those two when you were scrolling through.
Yeah, scrolling through the
prints
Kickstarter earlier. Yeah, and something definitely cool too is, I mean, maybe there's a possibility we can share this out, and you know, there might be a teacher or something that would be interested in picking up. You might be able to do like a teacher bundle, like add a 10-book bundle on there that like a teacher could get on and buy for a class.
Yeah, it'd be great. I've been sharing it with. I don't know what restrictions are where you are. I've been sharing it kind of clandestinely and quietly with my old teacher friends. Our local school system gets a little dicey with the whole money and teacher thing. But
Well, I mean, to be honest, John, I mean, I'm sure you ran into this a lot when you were a teacher, but teachers buy their supplies themselves.
oh yeah,
Um,
we had to
my
every year.
My sister-in-law, she's a teacher, and I think she buys majority of the supplies and the teaching
Yeah,
materials and the stuff that she needs for her class, because the schools really don't get, you know,
yeah,
the tax money that they used to. And
and it doesn't even come off your taxes anymore.
nope,
Nope,
yeah, no, and it's sad too,
as
because
of
like
last year.
our school here in Union, I think they put more money into the football field than they did getting new textbooks. There's kids that have textbook
Yeah,
covers that are duct taped on. I'm
yeah.
like,
That was my little dig at people who bounce basketballs earlier. That you know, you should be revering teachers, not sports people.
yeah, no, totally, I get it. But so, do you have the option? So, I did want to ask a question on here because it was a
No,
question
go
that I
ahead.
had when I backed the book. Now, is there an option to where you can up your pledge to get multiple copies of the book?
Um, yeah. Well, you can always pledge more if you want. If you would like multiple copies of the book, uh, we can we can individually work something out. Um, but I don't have anything set up specifically in the Kickstarter for that.
Well, and the reason why I'm
But
asking is it's just something that you could add in there
yeah, that
into.
is something I could consider adding in, and actually, I probably should consider
Yeah.
adding
Well, I
in
mean, there's
these
people like
last two
me that
weeks.
have two kids, you know, that want to buy
Right,
multiple copies. That usually, I mean, that was something I wanted to bring up. Is usually what the creators will do is, you know, whatever the price of an extra book, they'll put it on the Kickstarter. If you would like multiple copies of the book, over pledge, you know, $15 or $20, and
right,
you'll get send me a message, or you know, leave me a message on Kickstarter about what your over pledge and stuff was for. But that would be definitely
right.
something you might want to add in on there for people if they want to pick
Yeah,
up multiple
I'll
copies to
definitely
try
add
to.
that in. Our basic price for just a book by itself, unsigned. The thing for that's fallen off now, but it was $12. Yeah, I could put that. I'll put that in there.
Yeah, because
I
unfortunately, I
think
think you
that's what it
put in.
was without a bookmark and unsigned. So yeah, I could put that in there. That if
Yeah,
you
because I mean,
want
$12
an
isn't
additional
much,
copy.
and if people, you know, if you have 3 or 4 people add on, it'll definitely
Yeah,
help you hit those stretch goals.
yeah. No, we can do that. Yeah, that's no problem at all. I can definitely do that.
So you also said, so I know that the Iron Blue and the Spider Blue are gone. The TARDIS is still available. So
Right.
you
Iron
said you
Blue.
also. have 3 other sketches that you're going to release over the next 2 weeks that are available. There's only going to be one available of.
Okay, well, yes, well, there's only going to be one of one that will be available, of a Jeremy Orion piece
Okay.
that is going to be an original. And then there will be 2 more Jeremy Orion pieces that are going to be available to everyone. And they will, the 2 will be part of a bundle that I'm going to add in the next couple of days. And then the single piece is going to be its own thing, because it's going to be
It's going to be a 1-on-1. Yeah.
It's going to be a one of one. It's going to be another artboard of one of the pieces that he created, that he's going to hand color. So it's going to be like the spider blue and like the other things, except it's going to be a like the Comfort and Adam pieces. It's going to be from the original artboard, rather than a print from a digital print. So it's going to be the hard artboard of whatever type paper he uses to create his original art from.
Well,
Which,
very
he's
cool,
like
man.
me, it's probably Bristol or something like that.
So do you still? Well, that's one of my other questions that I wanted to ask you. So do you still
And those
dabble in?
those will probably go out next week.
Do you still dabble in art at all, or?
I do a bit. I haven't done a lot recently, just because everything has been so full with the Kickstarter and everything. Actually, the funniest thing, and I guess I can show you these. I don't know if they'll be that interesting or not, but I found some old sketchbooks.
And I'm still here. Don't think that I got kicked.
No, I know. I looked and only saw myself, and I'm like, okay, I'm in a single now.
No, I'm still here. I just wanted to be able to see the stuff.
Yeah, no, I found some old sketchbooks from back in the 90s that I had done, and I just recently started to ink those. So here's a Hawkeye piece. Let me try to center it with the camera here. Oops, I need to go up and over. So there's that.
That's
Hope
really
you
cool.
can see that.
No, you can see it perfect.
Okay, there's that. Let me show you some of. I don't know if the pencils will be that visible. Like there's an old Green Lantern piece from the 90s that I drew, and I need to ink that still. Let me see if I can find another one of the ones that I recently inked. But yeah, I was running a couple of these on my Facebook page, kind of, taking my old 90s work and then kind of updating it to the modern style. Here's a Kid Eternity piece that I inked. There we go.
That's really cool.
I think that was the original pencils were from 90, and then I just inked that at the end of last year. You would think I would just go through one sketchbook and do one, but it's just like I found one picture that interested me, and this was of I don't know if you remember the 5 year later Legion storyline. It was written by Tom and Mary Bierbaum and drawn by Keith Giffen. It's about 15 years ago, I think it was done. Well, it would have to be more because I did this in the 90s, so it's probably 20 years ago. But that's a cosmic boy. So it was a lot of heavy lines, a lot of, trying to make him look as dirty as possible.
Yeah.
A lot of heavy shadows. A lot of stippling.
Stippling, yep.
A lot of stippling on the piece of machinery he's leaning on,
Yep.
But I don't really have a lot of original stuff, at least not nearby. A lot of it's buried under a bunch of junk right now. My wife and I just recently converted a bedroom into our dual offices. All her stuff is behind me. So yeah, I have all cool King Kong posters and stuff, but they're all in front of me. All her stuff is behind me, and all her stuff's not that interesting to look at. So it's like I have to get something better in the background here.
I just have him to the back.
But no, I don't think I have anything really cool right now. At least not at hand. But yeah, I need to get more into that. Just just to have more to
Show
put
off
on my Facebook page, and to people can go to my Facebook page. It's it's all my studio names. It's the Dragonworks, the Monkeyworks Comics, and the Clockwork Monkey Toy Company, all kind of put together on one big Facebook page.
Yeah, and I posted the link
and
in there.
There's a bunch of my. Oh, thank you. There's some of the recent art that I've done on there. A lot of it's that old pencils, new inks sort of stuff. But yeah, I do need to get some more recent artwork on there, if for no other reason than I just need to start generating some work, start generating some commission work. So, I can start paying a penciler.
Nope, I understand totally.
So I can start getting some comics done. Because, yeah, when Blue is done, my next plan is to start a comic. I'm not sure which one yet. Like I said, I have a couple that could be potentially be the next one that I'm going to do. I'm a firm believer in paying people for their work. I'm not the next person that tries to come at me or anyone I know and say, I'll pay you an experience. I'm going to stab them with my crow quill. Because, in the digital age, nobody needs your experience. We can all get our own experience. It's very, very easy to get your own experience just by putting your own stuff online.
Yep. Everybody wants to pay an exposure anymore. That doesn't pay the bills, right?
Exposure, not experience. Exposure, that's the word I was looking for. But yeah, no, not to get into Steph's nudist thing again, but you can expose yourself. You don't need you don't need someone else to expose you.
That's right.
But yeah, exposure. Yeah, don't ever fall for that. If you're a potential penciler or writer or whatever, don't fall for that exposure BS, because you don't need it. But yeah, and
Nope.
I've always been a firm believer in paying people for their work. So, I want to pay people up front. So I do want to get started on a comic, and I want to be able to pay, or at least start paying a penciler up front for their work,
No, I totally understand that, man. Sorry, my
even if it's
5-year-old's
just a
up
page
again.
at a time. No, totally get it.
You gotta love that age where they don't want to go to sleep at night.
Oh no, totally get it. No, I hear that. I hear that in the background when my wife is teaching. One of her kids has little sisters, and they don't get the concept of the one girl has to listen in class. You guys need to go somewhere else and be quiet. So they're always around when my wife is trying to teach the one little blind girl
Yeah.
over the computer, and they're always la 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 and always doing stuff or playing their shows or their games, like right next to the computer where she's working. So yeah, and I'm over here on my computer working, going, kick those kids out of the room already.
Well, John, I'm going to give you the full screen, give you a chance to let everyone know where, if I can talk tonight, let
English,
everybody know
wonderful
where they
language.
can find you. And if you want
Oh
to
my
give
goodness.
everybody one last rundown on Blue, I'm going to pop the link in the comments. So I'll give you the
Oh,
full
thank
screen.
you. 'Cause that's a heck of a link to try to explain to people. Well, you can find me mostly on Facebook at oh gosh, what is my Facebook name? I've been put on the spot. I think it's John Wilson Comics Guy on Facebook. John W. Comics Guy on Twitter. And I think John Wilson Comics Guy on Instagram. You can also, as Russell put up earlier, you can find my company Facebook page at the extremely long link he put on the page for you. It's the Dragonworks Studio, Monkeyworks Comics, and Clockworks Monkey Toys and Games. And you can also find the Blue Kickstarter. Tell you what, the easiest thing to do is just go in the search bar and type in Blue Kids Book. Otherwise,
Or
you
you
can
can hit
follow
that handy dandy link right there in the
yes, or you
comments.
can follow the link that he very kindly just put in the chat for you. Much easier way to find it, I'm sure. Once again, Blue is a children's book that explores the importance of being happy with who and what you are and not being jealous of others. That's the elevator pitch. The extended version is Blue is our main character, and he doesn't want to be blue anymore. He doesn't think there's anything great about being blue, and he wants to be some other color. So he goes out and considers, pardon me for itching my nose, he goes out and considers all the other colors. And he considers the colors you think of, red, yellow, blue, orange. But he also considers colors you may have never heard of before. Some of those colors at the very deep end of the crown box, like saffron and oob and Midori and Zomp. Go look up Zomp sometime. It's an actual color.
And
He
who came up with
considers
the
all
names for
those.
these?
Yeah, look them up. They're actually colors. I did research. I live on the internet. But he considers a bunch of different colors because he only sees the positive sides of these other colors. And he sees only negative connotations in being blue until he is set straight by the old color gray. And then he is shown the more negative sides of these other colors and the positive sides of being himself until he finds out that it's not so bad to be blue, but maybe tomorrow he'll be vermilion. The end. It's a really great book done with fantastic art by Rodney Fike, or Fikey, if you prefer.
Sir
And
Rodney Ficus.
Rodney Ficus, he's a beautiful plant. Looks very well in the corner. And I can't say enough about his work on it. His the artwork is really the shining star of this book. And I hope that everyone will at least take a look at our Kickstarter. I think that most kids would really like it. It rhymes. It's an easy read. I think parents will enjoy it because it's quick. You know,
There's nothing better than a quick bedtime story, man. I hate when the
yeah,
kids pick
nothing
up
better
like
than
a
quick bedtime
300-page book for
Yeah.
bedtime. It's like pick out a story before bedtime, and they do. They go and they look through for the biggest book possible. It's like we're only reading one story out of this book, not
Yep.
the entire book.
It's quick, it rhymes, and it's got a happy ending. There you go. What more could you ask for?
What more could you ask for? John, thank you so much for being on tonight and talking about your Project Blue. I'm really excited
Thank
for it.
you.
I can't wait to get it and read it with the kids. I'm sure they're going to love it.
I hope so. And thank you for doing this. You know, to be honest, I haven't done interviews, appeared on camera in literally 2 or 3 years. So I really appreciate this. It was very kind of you to ask. All jokes aside, it really touched my heart that you even asked.
No, that's what I do, man. I look for the people that need help and need help getting their name out there, man. That's what I do. I love hearing and talking to you guys about your inspirations and about your story and how things came to be. And I like sharing that with other people. So I definitely appreciate you taking the time out of your day. I know you're busy, you got other stuff to do, but you took the time out today to get on and answer questions, and I really do appreciate that.
No, any time. It was relatively painless.
Relatively painless. Well, sir, you have a great night. Thanks a lot for being
You as
here.
well.
And I wish you the best of luck with the campaign. If you
Thank
want to
you.
hang out in the green room for a minute, I'm going to close out the show. And once I end the show, I'll be back to chat with you for a few minutes.
Sure. Yeah, if you can link me up.
Yep, just stay where you are and don't go anywhere,
All
and
right,
I'll
cool.
be back in a jiffy. Well, everyone, thanks a lot for being here tonight. Thanks for checking out the Project Blue. I really wanted to hear this man's story today. I've been real excited about this interview, really excited about this book. I can't wait to read it with my kids because it is an important subject. Kids these days want to take after the influencers. They want to be like the influencers, and they want to be somebody that they're not. And we need to take pride in our kids' individuality and help them learn that it's okay to be who they are and to be different because that's what makes them unique. And I think this book does just that. And, I think it's a perfect book for kids because at a young age they can learn that. So, everyone, thanks a lot for being here. If you would, please share the man's link out. The link is in the description of the video. The link is in the comments over here. Or if you're on Facebook, down here. If you're on YouTube, down here. If you're on my end, it's over here. So, it gets confusing. But anyway, share it, back it, love it, tell your friends about it. And I look forward to Saturday's show. We got a huge panel coming up. We're going to have like 10 people on. So maybe not that many, but it's going to be fun. Check out Nebula Pearl, launching soon on Kickstarter on February 3rd. That will be the next show coming up. And there will be no Blue Ball reviews because of that show. So definitely look forward to it. Everyone, as always, Russ Explode Studios, projects that blow your mind. You guys have a great night.